Yeah, good win for our team tonight. Proud of the players. It was a long day, obviously working through the delay and all of that, but ready to go. It was great to be back at home after a couple weeks. I thought the crowd was electric, really lifted the team, and then great performance, very complete performance. Obviously, starting with Anthony on the mound, did what he does. It's kind of customary at this point in time. Supported him with another 0 in the air column game, and really good offense, scoring in 5 of the 8 offensive innings, and we'll look to duplicate it tomorrow.
Coach, you've taken a lot of Power 5 transfers out of the portal the first couple of years. These guys don't fit that mold. They carried you tonight. How validating is that in your staff's evaluation and what these two guys have meant to your team this year?
Yeah, these two are easy. When you go through this new era of recruiting in the portal in the summertime, there's always 1 or 2 guys that are going to tip your season to where you're hosting a regional or national seed and you can compete for a national championship. And these were the 2 guys for this year. And we certainly have more and did a great job, with the transfers we brought in, both with ability and character, but starts with these 2.
Right over here, just the same thing I asked Anthony. I mean, it seems like he's been trending in this direction for really 4 or 5 weeks now, really since that complete game. Just from a coach's perspective, what have you seen in kind of this next gear that he seems to have taken over the last month or so?
Yeah, I think number one, he's an incredible athlete. He's not just a pitcher, he's an incredible athlete, and part of that is his physical conditioning. And I've talked a lot about his ability to get better as the game goes along, and I would say it's the same characteristic. He's getting better as the season has gone along because he's in tremendous physical shape and condition. And then I think he has great self-awareness. He's taken a few things that he needed to do a little bit better and done that, and it's accentuated or opened up all the options that he has, and he's just really tough to deal with. It's a lot coming at you, and he makes it really hard to plan against.
Hey, Coach, back here. I know the stats might not show it, but it seems like Michael Braswell has seen the ball very well the past few weeks. What kind of strides have you seen him make in those past few weeks, and what did you see from him tonight?
Yeah, I thought he had 3 out of 4 at-bats were quality at-bats tonight. I think he's done an excellent job at third base. The question about the ground balls is more as this particular team we were playing hits a ton of ground balls, and told the infield they were going to have to be very active tonight, and they were. And Michael was at the center of that. He had a great first step several times. So he's played exceptional defense at third base this year. I mean, our whole entire infield has played exceptional defense. He's done that. And I think what he's done, he hasn't let the results of batting average and those types of things discourage him from doing what the team needs. He hit a mistake really hard. Most nights it's probably out of here. It's kind of a weird wind blowing in from that way. Got a sacrifice bunt down, and then, an RBI single, double, whatever it was, there at the end of the game. And he has a lot of hay in the barn as far as a college baseball player, and so there's nothing he hasn't seen. He's a good competitor, and winning is really important to him. And so he's really a perfect player for this particular team.
Coach, right in front of you, I have to ask about the weather. When did you and the NCAA and Coach Curry decide how did you decide it was best when the best time was to start the game?
Yeah, I didn't decide anything. I got shown the circumstances of lightning within an 8-mile radius, and it was popping up a lot, really between 2 and 5, and then we had the storm. And if I could control the weather, LSU would never lose a baseball game. I can promise you that.
Hey, Coach, real quick, Perry White with On the Yard Network right here. You've been dealing with weather delays throughout the season. For you mentally, what is it like with these long days at the ballpark, not only keeping yourself going, your staff, but as well as the team? Mentally, at the end of the day, are you just exhausted? What do you do to recharge yourself, especially with this regional?
Yeah, personally, I probably had a couple coffees, between 2 and 7:30. But the guys they're having the best time of their life. And, I just kind of give them updates of what's next. We were here early. We prepared well. Kind of our countdown from, 2 o'clock start was starting at about 10:45. So we've been active since about 10:45. There was a couple adjustments that when the NCAA people came and told me what was what. I relayed it to the team, and I think it was handled well. And the weather's just better here at nighttime. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but that's what it is. And so, yeah, we got the first game, and we played a night game, and it's awesome. Now these two teams can experience what we've had like 5 times this year of playing at midnight.
A couple of coffees?
Yeah, it's probably 2.5 to 5.
You mentioned not bringing the bat to the field. I guess Steven's a great example of that tonight. You know, he got really into one as well. Just kind of how happy are you for him to kind of stay with it and have some success here?
Yeah, he's a good player, and I think when the target for him is right, which is just to have quality at bats and move the offense, he's an exceptional offensive player, and he did that tonight. A couple walks and a double. Our offensive philosophy is built around walks and doubles, or walks and extra base hits, and ability to move the offense. And I saw him as his best tonight, like whatever you want to call it, into the season last year, postseason, or Frisco Classic, you know, early SEC play. That's what he was tonight, and just a different level of commitment to his plan and focus, and we're a different team if he can do that.
Jay, when did you decide to start Anthony, and what led into that?
Yeah, I made the decision on Wednesday, and I communicated it to him on Wednesday. As far as what went into that, I think we're fortunate to have what I would call 2 aces. And I always feel like in a, must-win setting, which the postseason is, you lead with your ace, and it could have gone either way for us with those guys. You're playing a hot team that won 5 games in a row last week. That was feeling very good about themselves. The other thing is, we've had great crowds through the year, but this was different tonight. And you want to make sure that the pitcher can handle the moment. And that dude can handle any moment. And he did a great job for us tonight.
And when you first let Anthony and Daniel know that you were trying to recruit him and trying to sign him, did you get a lot of competition from other schools?
Oh, yeah.
How long was it?
It was tough. Just all the big names that are hosting this weekend for Anthony, for sure. It took 3 or 4 visits in 3 or 4 days, and we went first, and I'm glad we set a really high bar. And then with Danny, it was pretty competitive with one other spot, and we just laid out a good baseball plan, and I told him I'd let him be himself, and I wouldn't want him to be anybody else because he's a great baseball player and he's a great human.
Hey, Coach, over here, Grant Sastre of Crescent City Sports. Last weekend, you guys didn't have a great time at the plate, but tonight you guys had 11 hits and were very active at the plate. What do you have to say about your team's resilience after a tough weekend?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good offensive game in postseason baseball. Somebody told me their pitcher led the NCAA in ERA 2 years ago, was ahead of Paul Skeens, and he throws strikes and has different ways to get people out, and is a good competitor, and that's also another reason with the pitching decision. No question about that. I thought we were good tonight. He had, really good base running, as Danny mentioned, with Derek and Chris advancing on the ball in the dirt. 2 out RBI hits, which we call goldens. 2 out hits are golden with runners in scoring position. In the first 2 innings, Jake and Jared. Danny hits a mistake, for a homer. Derek, blitzes a ball, put a great swing on that double that Chris scored on, which he's done. That was great to see. And then another homer for Danny, and just thought it was constant pressure. Even in the innings we didn't score, it was kind of like we were poking them all night. And that's what I believe this team is when it's at its very best.
Hey, Coach, John Sokoloff with WGNO in New Orleans. This is Danny's first, regional that he's played in, and the fact that he kind of showed up in such a big way in that moment. What do you think that kind of says about him, the player?
Yeah, not a surprise. I often say can't like baseball or try to fit baseball into your life and play at LSU. You got to build your life around baseball, and that's Danny. He's here for 11 months from the commitment to hopefully the College World Series, and then he's going to go to pro baseball. And he'll be really prepared mentally and physically for that, because this is his deal. And that's why it's been a perfect match. He was the exact right player for us. Don't know if he was the most talented player in the portal, but he was the right player for me and right player for us. And he's had a great season and had a great night tonight.
Jay, what's it mean to get this one in tonight and have a little bit of normalcy for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's part of the design of playing the first game. And like I said, I try to pay attention to everything. I talked to Skip about this at length when I first got here. And then, really that first fall, I think it was the fall of 21. Like, nobody told me about the weather when I accepted the job here. Just Tucson and San Diego and Reno didn't really prepare me for what this is. So and then going through it in 23 in both the regional and super regional, it's kind of a no-brainer decision. And, the NCAA is really professional and they do a good job with it. And, we just try to watch the weather and, they make informed decisions and I keep the team ready to play. I'm sorry? Oh, well, we get a little bit of sleep. It's 11:02 right now. I guess it's only, 6:02 in Hawaii, so it's not that late. We'll get a good night's sleep. Not sure what the game time is or ESPN or TV. I'm sure we'll find that out, and we're at home, and I like being at home.
Coach, right in front of you. Everybody in the starting lineup got on base at least once tonight. What does it take to have a complete offensive effort like that?
Yeah, I think just you heard them talk about staying in their character and staying in plan and being committed to it and not getting distracted by what's happened in the game previously or get too far ahead. You can't win the game and have the game over in the first inning. You can't try to force it. You got to let the game come to you a little bit. And I thought we did that tonight. And, when you have really good pitching and really good defense, it should allow your offense to play with great confidence. And I thought we played well tonight. It was a good night for the Tigers on offense.
Hey, Jay, sorry.
Sorry.
Corey Diaz with the Daily Advertiser and USA Today Network. For Danny, when he first got here, how much do you feel like he had the ability to, work on his approach like in game? How much has that improved for him?
Yeah, we've had a couple good ones this year. He hit a homer against Mississippi State, kind of in like a, in the on-deck circle, like this is what you need to do, bam, homer. And it was kind of the same thing tonight. And he's competitive, and, I can relate, when you're as competitive as you are, sometimes your best quality can become your worst enemy as a hitter. And so I just wanted to get him reset for that third at bat, and he did, and he's talented. And, the other thing, he worked really hard over the last couple weeks. I want to say it was between Arkansas and South Carolina. He put a lot of time in, like a lot of time. Like he was here all day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and got some things swing-wise worked out, and then he got his mindset right. Had a great series there, really lifted us there, and obviously lifted us tonight.
Coach, when Maverick Rizzi's throwing strikes like he did tonight, what is he doing well?
I thought he was just dominant. The tempo was good. I called down to the bullpen, and I told Champ in the bullpen to, get his rhythm and his tempo going. So it's almost like I wanted him to throw an inning in the bullpen before he came in and threw an inning to shake off the nerves and, any of that stuff. But he was electric tonight. Like, it'd be as good as anybody. He can be as good as anybody in the country throwing the ball like that.
Coach, to put DJ in, right here, to put DJ in for that .1 innings, and then, how much progress have you seen from him? And then, also to follow along with Maverick as well.
Yeah, so with the nature of the SEC tournament being single elimination and us finishing as high as we did and getting 4 byes or whatever it was, like, we didn't get everybody in the game that we wanted to. And I don't think DJ pitched at South Carolina either. So it's been a couple weeks. So we've done a good job over the last couple weeks of getting guys on the mound here in some simulated game stuff. And the last one he threw is the best that I've ever seen him throw in my life. And that was awesome to come in, and I think he threw 4 strikes in a row and executed really, really well.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys.